Hey everyone, back to another exciting episode of Tucker Productions. Today I bank on being joined by a bunch of assholes again. Um, that being said, Jimmy, Jason, Austin, and we couldn't get a hold of Fluff for some reason.
Last I heard of Fluff, he got lost in the Guitar Center, and we haven't heard from him for 3 days. So,
That sounds about right.
um, rest in peace, Fluff.
Poor guy.
Well, with that being put aside, there's buttons. Feel free to click them. Today's matchup is Red Broly versus Cell Surge. Jason's back bringing his Red Broly deck, and I don't know if Austin was. Yes, Austin, you have been on camera before with the Cell Surge deck.
Yeah, we've done a profile on it too.
Have you changed anything since then?
Not too much. I took out some cards because I was making another deck, and for the life of me, I couldn't remember what those cards were. So I was like, "That'll do." Just threw things back in there.
It happens. With that being said, guys, take it away.
This was a very strange game for me, to say the least.
That's how I love playing Cell Xeno, because before they started adding like alternate awakened leaders, I just don't attack with Cell for the longest time. I never attack with anyone, so everyone's like, like what? Like what is it? Why aren't you attacking? I can't awaken now. I'm like, exactly. But right here, I'm letting Jason read the Cell Dark Parasite just so he knows what it does.
I remember when that Cell Dark Parasite was announced, and this was around the time that draw apes were so integral to this list, and you couldn't get a draw ape for under $100. So when that Dark Parasite was dropped, people were like, maybe like Cell would be a more prominent deck now that it has a accessible alternative to Draw Monkeys. And it's been fantastic for the deck, but I don't think it's had the effect on the deck that a lot of people thought it would.
No, it hasn't. I like it because I never was going to pay for Draw Monkeys ever, and I personally prefer this over Draw Monkeys for me because it helps you self awaken. So like if you get at 5, you're like, shit, I need to surge, awaken. You can take a life also to get down to 4 to use your surge effect. So I prefer it over Draw Monkeys in this list.
So, Jason, you playing Red Broly. Red Broly is just a fantastic aggro list, and surprisingly did not get touched upon like a lot of people thought it would with this most recent ban list. Of course, you lose Bardox, but I don't think you ever really played the Bardox in your variation of the list.
Yeah, they limited it down to 1, which I ran only 1 in my deck anyway, so it didn't affect me at all. This is one of those cards I got. If I'm able to use it, great. If not, not a big deal. I have a bunch of other cards that I put in the deck that actually will make it more aggressive than that Bardock.
Oh, of course. And I've seen your list go off so many times, and it's like it always catches people off guard, even though I feel like they should know what Red Broly wants to do. But you pilot this deck so well, and you've been playing it since it dropped, and like I don't think you've played anything other than this, have you?
No, I messed around with the black Goku Xeno, but I've never really actually played it. I always end up going back to my Red Bully.
And Austin, you're playing the Meta Cooler Unison, which I feel like a lot of people sleep on. I remember it was like super expensive at the time, but it just never did anything meta wise. To my knowledge, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I just like one thing that crack with so with this deck, you with the Cell leader, you look at the top 5. Goodness gracious, speak. You look at the top 5, and then you put one to your hand, then you discard one, and then with Metacooler, you discard 1, draw 2, the +1. I never use Metacooler except to do the +1. Everyone hits it. I'm like, keep hitting it. Good. I don't care because all I want is the +1. And because when you awaken, you have no draw power, and this helps draw power so much along with the Cell Dark Parasite. It made those 2 cards alone made the deck much more viable. And if you play a lot of cards like that and that Championship Android 21, Perfection's Prey, if you play Zarbon, you play Rebrand, Draw Monkeys, all that stuff, if you want to discard, it's such a high value for the deck.
And this must be a scary matchup due to Broly's ability to hit the hand so quickly and so aggressively. And with Cell's lack of draw power on the front side, since you do get to make the cards in your hand, the quality of those very good by being able to search top 5 and just add any card, correct?
Yeah.
So your card quality is fantastic, but your card economy is not fantastic because you are having to bottom deck a card every time.
Yeah, especially since my super combo is the Android 18 super combo where they just, bottom a card from their hand.
So Broly's ability to go up the chain and keep warping cards out of your hand must be very scary due to the lack of draw power on the front side of the leader until you can either get Draw Monkeys or your Dark Parasite going.
Yeah, because like I said, I don't run Draw Monkeys in this list. It's mostly been Meta Cooler, but in this matchup, I thought ahead of with the warping the hand. So like the entire time I was playing around them, okay, he's going to be able to warp the hand soon enough. So I need to kind of get us prepared, not play a lot of cards, just kind of play it safe and just keep it in my hand. And so it didn't hurt too much, but it gets a little wonky a little later on with the with the warping the hand.
Yeah, I think, what was it, twice I've gotten rid of all your cards in your hand? Towards
Yeah,
the
it
end.
happened. Yeah, it was near the end, which we'll get up to that. You got rid of all my hand twice, and this is what I was talking about here with at least with Red Broly, he has to take his own life with his own cards. But like every deck I played against that night had its own way to take its own life, and or an alternate awakening. I'm like, please stop, just let me do my thing, just please stop.
Yeah, like I think the time that the Cell strategy started to get more popular of just setting on top of Cell and then dropping Super 17 to force your opponent to pick up 2 life and then playing Cell Xeno following it was really popular at a time where like Surge was a thing, but there wasn't a lot of other alternate awakening editions, and most decks did not have their own self-awakeners. So your opponent would just set at 8 life the entire game until you were ready to be done, and then there's nothing they can do about that. And most people would sideboard some self-awakeners, but at least at our locals we just did best of 1 because of time constraints.
Yeah.
That was never really an option. So I remember Fluff playing a variation of this deck and just showed up, and I was playing a deck that forced that my opponent had to attack me to get any value. I was playing the Blue Baby package.
Oh yeah.
And I just sat there with an empty field for like 5 turns, and then he just goes, okay, I'm going to play Super 17. I'm like, okay, I can negate that attack. And he's like, well, negate this Cell Xeno app with no hand. And that was not the most enjoyable game I've ever had.
Yeah. I'm thinking about messing with this list some because the Super 17 isn't that great with all these alternate awakenings, especially in our own shop meta. So, like I said, I literally just picked the deck up and I was like, I had fun with this. Let's play this one. And I didn't do much list changing, so this was kind of a opening experience for me because I wanted to change how I play this. I still like having the 4 of Rebrians in the deck, and just because I feel like that helps Cell Surge quite a bit with if you already have like the Dark Parasites and the Meta Cooler, because Meta Cooler allows, while you cannot play the tokens from the first auto back to main once per turn, play token because he's not a mono green leader, you still get the draw power. And then if for some reason you're like, hey, I have 4 markers, I'm just gonna minus and get a one last 3 attacks out.
Yeah, I think if you're running a green strategy that can go into the later turns, I think Cooler is definitely a consideration, because at worst you could just pay 4 for them and then swarm tokens,
Yes, swing with your Unison and then just get 3 more attacks after.
Yeah, it's basically just like a less enticing Obuni.
Pretty much, yeah. And it's personally still my favorite green Unison. Like, I still think it's one of the One of the best generic used green Unisons.
Wow, you're going to make a lot of people upset that you didn't say Demigra is your favorite green unison and that it should be banned.
You know what? Screw Demigra. Screw Demigra.
Demigra is good. Shut up.
Nah.
Can we
Hot
change?
take.
Can we like change your ranking and just say you lost the entire tournament, please? After you saying that.
I mean, it's okay. I'll lose next time.
Bet.
But yeah, so right here, I can't remember if this is the one where he warped my hand, and then I show that I had Cell Xeno on my hand since like the opening turn. So I was like sitting there like the secret rare, and I know people are like say the secret rare is trash now, but I've always played this secret rare turn 5 with this deck, so it's like perfect for this deck because I always wanted to drop it turn 5. There are only a very few times I dropped it turn 4, but most times I always dropped it turn 5, and it was just so fun.
Yeah. Like I do not understand the outrage about that errata. I feel like it's perfect errata for the card because I don't think it's ever taken 2 attacks from Cell Xeno to even kill in the first place, you know?
The issue is people are frustrated because they can no longer zerg the board and just get a 40k quad strike, and which like that wasn't the intended reaction with that card interaction. I mean, with that card.
Yeah.
So I didn't. When people saw it, I was like, because literally at first when I saw the errata, I was like, what changed? Like I didn't understand what changed. I was like, why are people mad? And then I took a second and I was like, oh, people are just dumb. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to keep that card relevant while also neutering the effects of being able to just drop it. Like Shinron was able to, Sin Shinron was able to zerg it out super quick. And that's just so unfun to lose to a Cell Xeno on turn 3.
Real quick here. So Jason was talking, we were talking, and he was saying that we were just like, he's like, I'm gonna get all your cards from your hand. And I was like, well, it's gonna get me next turn if you do. He's like, why? And then I was like, I just need to get a green card. I have all these green cards, and I pulled a yellow and a yellow green. I was like, are you kidding me? So I'm just gonna rebrand him twice because I got nothing else. And I was so that was the most frustrated I was that entire game when I top decked that Super 17 because I had Nimbus in my hand also.
Yeah. With Nimbus and then couldn't attack. Was it this turn or last turn? I couldn't attack. No, it was last turn. I couldn't attack.
Well, it was the cards that they came in rest mode automatically. So that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
That's why I love this leader, because turn 3 you awaken, and then if you have 4 life, you just take a card. Oh, hey, any card you play enters rest mode. The next turn, oh, hey, any card you play enters rest mode. So the opponent has to think like a step ahead of what they want to do if they want to set up like an end game for their next 2 turns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which was surprisingly annoying in our matchup, Austin, because we played round 1. I was playing Bardock Crew. And you did that to me right as I was about to just zerg the field, because I was going into like 4th turn and I had this set up to at least play probably like 6 more Bardock Crew in that turn.
You already had 11 cards on the field. What do you mean?
Care. I don't care. I wanted to win the way I wanted to win. But it was so annoying, and I always forget about that. Field. I always forget about that part on the Cell Leader. I don't know why, because it's one of his biggest strengths, but like I always forget about that.
The other ability he has is pretty good if you I think on this turn, this is where I discard the my hand pretty much again, and then this next turn, like it was before he went to the 6 drop, and I KO'd it with Charismatic Villain Frieza because I was like, okay, cool, pop it while it's in rest mode. He can't do anything, he just made me use my hand for the turn, no big deal. And then I think right here I'm getting ready to do my ability where I then pop it with my Cell ability and then I can discard another card. And that's what I like. I think out of all the Surge leaders, this is my favorite one just because of the utility that his effects had. I liked the other cards at the time more, but green has gotten so much stronger since set 9 that it's just, if you make this a primarily green deck with a little splash of yellow, it's so good.
Yeah, well, that definitely was a little difficult, especially I'm not used to going this long with Broly. Like, it's like what turn 6. I didn't put an energy down in my energy a couple of times, so prolonging the game for me at least definitely made it more difficult, especially once you got rid of my 6-drop.
Yeah, it's surprising to see that 6-drop hit the field and the game not end. Like,
Yeah,
most of the time that 6-drop's killing, and a lot of Broly players are not even playing the SS4 Broly Secret Rare due to the 6-drop being powerful enough to end the game in the first place. So what's the point,
yeah. And here's when I finally played the field card just to try to get some cards back in my hand. And I think it failed. I don't think I was able to get any card. This was the moment where I realized I just lost the game pretty much.
Yeah, I think I also had another like negate in my hand ready to go too, just to get rid of another crit, or like I would take regular swings, no problem, but just because I wanted more cards in my hand, but I did not want another crit. I also have a devious idea to put Grandpa Gohan and then the unbanned Goten in this, so that way I can have even more search power with Cell.
Yeah, you mentioned that. I was like, that's actually not a horrible idea, especially with a lot of the newer Unisons the newer Spirit Boost Unisons that are worth running are, 9,000 to 6,000 powers. So being able to 1-2 swap into Goten and just keep pegging into their Unison and leaving their life total high might be very potent in this list.
Yeah, I think it's gonna make people frustrated enough to where they're gonna want to focus Goten, that I can make, okay, cool, you're not hitting me, so I can focus on my bullshit I'm trying to get up. Like Goten adds another layer of distraction and agitation.
Exactly. And Mercenary Tau coming out, that card is just so good.
It's so good. I love Mercenary Tau so much.
Yeah, that was one of the MVPs for me all night in my Bardock Fruit list. So I'm happy to see it putting in work in other decks as well.
Yeah, it actually works very well in my Broly deck.
Especially once you do the boss and the more Brolys and you're doing multiple Brolys. Because I think when you first started, you were just doing the one Broly chain, that was it. You weren't putting multiple Brolys out. And now that you got to the point where you're doing just multiple Brolys and boss and everything, it really helps to get a wider board presence.
Yeah, I would have done it. I would have done it that way towards the beginning of the game, but from where you went 2 turns without attacking me, it definitely slowed things down a little bit.
Yeah.
Hunsa is huge. Getting rid of the blocker like that is just it's huge.
Yeah.
Especially setting back on 2 life. You have to think he has a negate in hand, 1 energy open. He could either be more aggressive or he could set back on that 1 energy and negate with also having the bond play to block and possibly pull through an extra turn. So sniping that is probably the best option.
Yeah, I just didn't want to block her just in case anything happened, because he can't combo with anything, obviously, in his battle area. And his hand's very low at this point. I think he had 1 card at this point.
A couple. So I remember I had the 5-drop in my hand, and I stopped so I could keep the 1 energy instead of going from the 4-drop into the 5. There's my 1 negate, and I think I had a 5.
There it is. And now you have 1 card in your hand. This is when you had 1. And I was like, okay, cool, I have 1. And then I was like, because I just needed just the swings. And
that's a funky looking Cell Xeno. Man, they rotted the art too.
Yeah, Kel looks almost exactly like the regular Cell Xeno. It frustrates me so much. Then I come up to 45 just to. Did a free 30k attacker? It's just absurd.
It's almost like you should play Dark Broly.
Oh, I I had Harriman's Lineage in my hand for like the last 3 turns and couldn't play it because his freaking Cell Xeno was a 9-drop, so I couldn't grab it.
Yeah, and I knew he had it in his hand because he kept leaving energies open. I was like, you got a Herald Lineage there in your hand.
And Heroine's Lineage is just such a good card, but in some matchups, it's like what's the point of even running it at this point? Like you might as well side it out if you have the option.
Yeah, it's I love that card. The issue also is just like I said, because of the cost and everything, and with certain decks that are just more passive, it's rough.
Yeah, this is the one time since I put that in there that I wish I would have had the Super Saiyan 4 Broly instead of that one.
Yeah,
and this is go ahead.
I would say I was just gonna end it up. If you got something else to go, you're good to go.
I was saying this is why I really wish Bandai would allow you to like side deck another Ultimate card or something, because that'd be fun.
You do risk doing that, allowing them to put 2 in their deck, though, and that's why you can't do that, because people do cheat. And with that being
fuck those guys.
No, for sure. With that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you all enjoyed the match as much as Jason did. We could not find Fluff. We don't know what happened to him. He's still lost. So with that being said, Jimmy, do you want to take it away? And keep in mind, there are buttons on the screen while he does the outro.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give a shout out to our boy Austin, grinding away on twitch.tv/Cathanas. If you would like to see some mediocre Leo gameplay, please go check him out.
The compliment, I was so heartwarmed, and then just immediately dumped. Wow. Well, thank you, and fuck you, but also thank you.
And thank you for watching. I'm not going to beg for likes because I'm not that type of person, but if you did hit those buttons, please let me know. I would love to send you a heart on YouTube under my account, Productions on Attack, and I might harass you in the comments as well. And if we ever find Fluff again, then, he might be here to say Fluff out, but I'm just going to say Fluff out right now, just to keep the tradition going.